Hi there. Pro tip of the day. Just finished doing a walkthrough of a brand new build. I was thinking about a question I just got this last week from someone, which was, should I do an inspection of a brand new home? I mean, it's brand new. Perfect, right? You get a 1-year builder's warranty in the state of Montana. And should you do an inspection? My answer is absolutely 100% every single time, yes. We have some phenomenal builders here in town. We have some maybe less than phenomenal, but regardless, even the phenomenal builders are subject to their subs and what their subs do. Anybody can have a bad day, things can go wrong. So let me give an example of one that I came into contact with about a year ago. My inspector was out of the home, brand new build, really quality builder, somebody I think very highly of. Has great subs have been with them for years and years and years. They do a quality job. Lots of inspections with him, they've all been great. My inspector calls me during the inspection. So normally he gives me an appointment time. That's when I'm supposed to show up with my buyers. We're going to do a full walkthrough of the property. He's going to show them all the little details of things that they need to do to keep their home healthy, and also some things that he might have found that are of concern and that I am going to need to now negotiate on an inspection notice to have the seller take care of before my buyer or the builder take care of in this particular instance. It wasn't time yet. We're still like 4 hours away from the time we're supposed to come meet him, and my phone rings, and it's my inspector. Never a good sign. And he's like, you need to call the builder, get him over here right away. I'm like, oh, what's going on? He's like, yeah, just get him, come on over here. I'll explain it when I get there, or when you get here. So I got over there, and apparently in the crawl space around this corner, one of the plumbers had never connected the pipe from one of the sinks on the second floor down into the crawl space. And so the inspector, runs all the sinks, checks everything. And so water was just pouring into the crawl space. Not great. So thankfully the inspector caught that very quickly. It was a very simple thing to fix, but had it gone unnoted because the sellers didn't get an inspection done, the buyers didn't get an inspection done, we would have had a really big problem, and it could have been very expensive fix. A lot of serious damage, not much water pouring down. You imagine it could have been a month. You're busy when you're unpacking. What a mess. So, there's just a lot of instances like that. So the other thing that I was thinking about that I would like to talk about with people is, you really have two different kinds of builder. You have the ones that are building mostly custom homes. They might do a couple specs a year, depending on how busy they are. Might do semi-custom homes, but they've been around a long time, and their subs have been with them for a long time, and they have a good relationship. They know each other, which was the case in the one I just mentioned. And so that's wonderful. And typically those inspections go super smoothly. The builder's there a lot, checking the subs work. Everybody's working together. It's great. Then you also have another type of builder. It's not saying that it's wrong. It's just a different type, where they're building maybe 200 homes in a neighborhood, all 200. And they might be working on 20 at one time or 10 at one time, a lot. And so they have a bunch of subs. The subs kind of float in and out depending on availability, who's where, and who's gotten stolen by Yellowstone Club up in Big Sky. It happens a lot. And so those builders have project foremen that are there on site, supposed to be checking things. But I definitely have had some situations where things weren't being checked, and we didn't get to the inspection. We have some serious build issues. So in those circumstances, if I have a buyer who is purchasing early enough in the process, which happens, I recommend to them they have an inspector come on a periodic basis as we hit certain milestones before the drywall goes up and you can see everything that's behind the wall. I find that to be very helpful, and just did one of those over in Meadowlark Ranch, which is in Belgrade, with a builder that I was not familiar with, and he was fabulous, and he welcomed the inspector, and I think that's a really good sign, right? He's like, yeah, more eyes on this, the better. Let's find anything that's problematic and get it taken care of immediately. That was a great process. My buyer was thrilled. That one ended up being very much a semi-custom home. They already had the lot purchased, the builder did. We loved the lot, beautiful views in the backyard, backed up to the mountain state, really nice. And So it just made sense for them. They were able to keep their flooring and their wall color and their appliances. And so those semi-customs can be hard on the builder because it's decisions and things, and you're working with people. A lot of builders are not willing to do that. They're spec homes, you get what they are. But some of them are willing to do it. He was, and that was a great situation with the inspector coming periodically. But the other ones, I had one last year. It was a builder that I had worked with a number of times in the past and had some challenging situations on inspection with. And actually just had one, I don't know, that's probably 9 months ago. Inspected perfectly, so beautiful. So again, it always comes down to the subs that are building the house, because they're actually building the house, and who they are at that particular day. So an example of a builder that's building a large community is one that I had about last year sometime. Is a builder that has built multiple communities here in the greater Bozeman area, and this is a new community. Had a buyer interested in it, and I've been out there showing the property. Really neat design, beautiful location. Really liked a lot about it. And while I was out there, I noticed the truck of one of my favorite inspectors, and so I gave him a call and said, "Hey, have you inspected?" Obviously, he's inspected one of these. What are you thinking about these? How are they looking? And he said, really wild story is. I inspected 2 in one day, side by side, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. The one in the morning, fantastic. Nothing but some blue tape items. And when I say blue tape items, what that means is we use the blue painter's tape, which you can get at any hardware store. And on new builds, we will walk around the entire, I usually start at the front door and just keep along the wall and walk the entire home, just looking for anything that's wrong. Sometimes the guys will drop a drill or something, and you've got this divot in the floors. Got paint areas that just missed something. Other things I've seen, gaps around electrical outlets or around light switches. So just anything that's just not right. And those guys move fast, and so we go back with a fresh set of eyes. I always ask my buyer to go with me to do that, and my inspector has blue tape with them too. If they see something, they'll pop some blue tape on. So I'm talking to this inspector, and he says, morning inspection went great, just some typical blue tape items, nothing to be worried about. Because then the afternoon, I go next door, but the expectation is going to be exactly the same. It was not. It was mess. It was like a completely different house. Literally the exact same house, literally built by the exact same people. And usually those subs just go house to house to house to house. So typically you're seeing very consistent things. Not this time. So one of the things that you couldn't see from down on the ground was the roof was really, really bunching up. The shingles were all shriveled up together. So much that they were creating little bubbles at the top, where if you got a really good windstorm, probably get in there and pop it off. This is a brand new house, so roof shouldn't look like that. And so anyway, he said there were just a number of fairly significant problems. So I let my buyer know about those things, and made the decision to go ahead and make an offer on the home. And we did get it under contract, and had the exact same problem with the roof and the other kind of major issues. So the roof, why would that happen on a roof? Great question. I didn't know the answer back then. I do now because I did a lot of research. But when you're putting a roof down, obviously you have a lower level layer, and it's called the underlayment. And then you have shingles. There's different layers, and the underlayment has to be put down at temperatures that are not too cold or too hot, but definitely not too cold, which is what we deal with more of. This one was put down when it was too cold, and what happens is it gets really flat and thins out. And then when it warms back up again and the sun hits it, everything just kind of bunches up. It's like it goes to its more normal sizing. And when it does that, it causes all of the shingles to bunch up with it. So not good. I did talk to the shingle manufacturer. They sent somebody out and said they would not warranty the roof because the underlayment had not been put on properly. or the shingles were not being able to lay on the roof properly. So yeah, that was a big negotiation with the builder who maintained that the shingles were just fine, and the inspector and roofer and shingle company who also did was not. So quite the situation, and you really don't want to try to be negotiating that a year down the line when your builder's warranty is about to expire. You want to do that before the builder's been paid, and if you did, because they're very motivated to get things solved before payment. And I'm not saying they wouldn't take care of it after the fact. Most of the builders here are great and will take care of things. My sweet builder, love him. My home is 3 years old, and he was over last week looking at something, because that's the kind of guy that he is, the kind of professional he is. But all these things to say, should you do an inspection when you're buying a brand new home? Absolutely. A whole lot more horror stories. So if you want to call and ask me for more, I'd be happy to share them. But the longer you do this, the more things you're like, wow, I never saw that coming. So anyway, if you have any questions about the buying or selling process, about what you want to do moving forward, just anything at all, give me a call. I love talking about this stuff, as you can tell. My number is 406-539-7176. I am Denise Carr. I am the broker realtor with Keller Williams Montana Realty in Bozeman, Montana. I handle areas all over. We travel a lot here. So I go about an hour-ish around our areas, and I'm just so happy to talk with you. So call me with your questions, comments. Hopefully you do not have horror stories of your home, and hopefully you've always done inspections. But really made me think about this. One of my really sweet clients bought a house in another state and asked me this last week, his house inspected. Yes, let me scare you right now. So she is having the house inspected. Yay. All right. Have a great one. Bye.